is Rose, and I am the director of Young Women Empowered in Seattle. We offer leadership and mentorship programs for young women all over the Northwest. We have about 700 young people and 2,000 community members a year that go through our programs. And the majority of our young people are first and second generation immigrants, many of whom are from East African countries. And it's such an honor to be partnering with the Cascade African Film Festival and to have our young people's voices centered in this space. So without further ado, I know you all want to hear from these youth. I'd love for you all just to go around and introduce yourselves with your names and pronouns, where you're from, and anything else you want folks to know about you. So just go ahead and take turns and pass it on to each other.
So I'm Dunya. My pronouns are she and her. I'm originally actually from Djibouti, but I'm in Seattle now. Oh, what else?
That's it. You're great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Frau. My pronouns are she, her. I'm originally from Ethiopia, and I'm a first gen in college.
Awesome. Thank you, Frau. So happy you're here. Eleni, do you want to go next?
Oh, yeah, I was about to go. Yeah. Cool. My name's Eleni, she, her pronouns. I'm also Ethiopian, and I'm also a freshman in college.
Nice. My name is Rahua. I am Eritrean, and I'm currently living in Seattle, Washington, and I'm she, her.
Awesome. Thank you all. It's so fantastic to have you here. Thanks for taking the time to watch this film and share your thoughts with us. So to kick off our conversation, I think that we would all love to know kind of what resonated with you from this film, what like really stuck out to you as being something that is familiar, and what didn't resonate with you, like what was like, that's not particularly accurate. And whoever kick it off. Yeah, go ahead, Dunya.
For me, I guess the biggest thing is filmed in my country. And I guess most of it did resonate with me, like just the culture of it all, especially like the Somali culture. I think the biggest thing that didn't resonate with me is the freedom that they had, you know? Like that's not, that's not normal. So I was like, wow, that's not me.
No, yeah.
Nice.
From a cultural aspect, everything was like on point. Like even in Ethiopia, we have a very large Somali community, and you can really see like the similarities between both cultures. But yeah, like as far as like the food, the clothes, like everything was pretty accurate, but like the bonds between the families, like the responsibilities aspect was accurate, but like, yeah, they were getting these freedoms. Like at first I was kind of like relating, and she was like, oh, I have to ask my mom before I go and do anything, or I have to do this. And I was like, yes. But then her mom was just letting her do these things and like wearing whatever. And I was just like, maybe not. So.
Yeah, I have to agree.
I agree.
Totally freedom. The girls were able to hang out with boys, go to after school, like hang out, boys and girls, like.
Yeah, I was so like shocked when she went to the party and she showed her hair and everything. And I was like.
And her hair was covered all the time.
Covered. Yeah, also, for Esma's character, how she was wearing her hijab at school and everything. I wish, when they're showing her at home with the mom, like the mom had her hijab, but she didn't, which didn't make sense,
Yeah, I think it was to show that she isn't dedicated to her religion. Like it's not coming from the heart. It's more like an expectation from her family. At least that's what I got. Like she was kind of forced, which is why like you see her like with her mirror, and she was just like she was putting her hair down and stuff before her siblings called her. You could tell she really wanted that freedom, so she wasn't really like dedicated to her religion like personally, Like she was just kind of forced into it.
Yeah, that's another thing I couldn't relate to either, because I was a hijabi all my life. Like I only took my hijab off 3 years ago, but it's never forced, especially in Djibouti. Like no, they don't wear hijab like that out there. So I was like, the fact that it's like insinuating that she didn't want to wear it and things like that, that I couldn't like, connect with that. Because in Djibouti, they don't really wear hijab because it's so hot. They wear like very light clothing. They only wear hijab when they come to Western world, because everyone there is Muslim. So it's like, it's a mutual respect thing. But even my mother, like she didn't wear hijab until she came here into the US at 35. She never wore hijab in Djibouti. Her mom is Arab. She didn't wear hijab either. So I was like, I don't think they force it like that.
That's another thing that I actually want to talk about. It's like, I thought it was like something unconscious that she had like a fear. Like, cause like nobody forces you into anything, but there's like this like expectation, like you're too afraid to not do it. So like you just do it unconsciously, like, but you really want to like be some other way, that's the vibes that I got.
She was trying to figure out what she likes, probably, like
that too. Yeah,
go to wearing hijab. You had a transition of many years,
Yeah, exactly. It's like a journey.
Yeah,
but I don't know, like
and the whole freedom thing, I saw it as they were trying to, the way I saw it is like they were trying to teach parents this is what the youth go through, and this is the reality of young women in Africa and young women all over the world too. There's this freedom, which I love, that they were free to hang out with the guy, they were free to express their feelings and talk to each other, and the dad didn't yell at her when she left with the guy at that one scene instead of going with the dad.
Yeah, that ties into the question the person asked in the Q&A. It says, do you think the fictional aspects are helpful to promote more freedoms for young girls and women? And I don't know, because I feel like as a culture, like, I don't want to say this, but we're really, really like behind on freedoms, especially for young women and women in general, especially like we're very behind. So it kind of feels like you're dreaming and grasping for something that realistically isn't going to be there for like a long time.
That's why I agree as well.
Like my mom, I talk to my mom about like freedoms and stuff like that all the time. And she's still like, she's lived in America for like quite a while, and she's more Americanized for sure, but she still, I can tell, has those mindsets, or like unconsciously still holds those traditional like things. And like she understands like the logic and like why it's important and etc. But like she still like in her core like believes like traditional roles for both genders, like that's still a thing. And I feel like as a culture we're like really behind on that. Like it's not even a concern right now, like as for like, oh, like women shouldn't just be in the kitchen, like it's not even a discussion. So like I feel like we're just really like,
have you noticed
not on it?
Eleni, have you noticed how they were all focused on their education? Their moms didn't push them to be in the kitchen. Their moms didn't push them to babysit. Or
I know that
responsibility. If the one responsibility one of them had was like helping her younger siblings with homework, And I really like that. Like they came home, their parents pushed them to study, focus on your homework, focus on your application, about study abroad, whether it's in Djibouti or in Paris. So I was like, that's really cool, because a lot of time women after school, they have their own agenda when they come home back where I grew up in Sudan and Eritrea too. They're the home duties, when you enter your home, like you put your schoolwork aside and you get back to your schoolwork on your own quiet time, which is hard to find. And so I think they were trying to promote freedom. I hope that was the goal of the film. That's my understanding of it. And the more parents that get to watch this, they will understand what young women in their community are going through, or what it should be like. The conversation they were having with their parent was so mature, like the mom giving her the independence and trusting her that she could make decision for herself. Having that conversation, Mom, I could do this better. Let me make my decision. Although that's not the reality of in East Africa, where we can't make our own decision. It's a family decision, whatever we do, But yeah, if it gave them a perspective, you know what I'm saying, Pharrell?
Yeah, no, I definitely with you. I think in terms of like where we are right now as a society in the East African community, especially back home, we're definitely not at this point where we are talking about the freedom that girls get. But I think if parents really did watch this movie with an open mind, it could really promote the freedom that young girls could be really getting. Because I remember like even being back home, like my stepdad wouldn't even go in the kitchen. He's like, no, like go grab me. Like it was almost like the kitchen was like a sacred place only women can enter. And I'm like, you can touch it. I can touch it. Like it's okay. But I think if parents really did watch this movie with an open mind, it really does an amazing job of like grasping the student, the young woman perspective. So it could definitely promote it. But are we there yet to where parents will actually watch it with an open mind?
No. Like, yeah, like my mom, I was literally talking to her like a couple weeks ago, and we were just like, oh, like she was cooking like lunch for us, and then she just like, come and watch me cook. And I'm just like, why? And she's like, so you can, like, nobody's gonna marry you if you don't know how to cook. I'm like, what?
I agree. Yo, my mom does that too. It's like, who's gonna teach you these recipes when I'm gone? How are you gonna cook for your husband? It's like, that's not what it's all about. Yeah.
Yeah. It's who's gonna feed your husband.
Yeah. It's like, I can go to Taco Bell and feed him. You know? Yeah. You know, yes. I try to, because my family's from Djibouti, right? So I had my mom try to watch it with me. She gave up after the first scene where the girl had the miscarriage, because they don't even do that out there. And then also, like, I told she refused to finish the movie with me, and I was telling her what happens and how she's like dating a married man, and she's like, no, because Djibouti is so small, it's the size of Maine. Everybody knows each other. People would have snitched on her the first day. So that's what, it's kind of unrealistic, a little bit with that.
About that part. When she had the miscarriage, at first I thought she was a married woman.
I thought she got her period. That's what happened. It happens to everybody. Like, I thought it was the period. But when she said it happens to everybody, I was like, what?
Oh no, when she said it
happens, I was shook. I was like, what's going on here? Like, and then her mom didn't find out like much later. And I was like, I'm sorry, not in our community.
Do y'all want to elaborate a little bit on the gossip culture stuff that you were telling me about before?
Exactly. So yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you want to talk?
Oh, go ahead. You're good.
Oh, okay. So I'm a psych major, but so we learn about collectivistic cultures and individualistic cultures, and our culture is collectivistic. So we put more emphasis and care for the group than ourselves. And since I grew up kind of in America and kind of in Ethiopia, my family sometimes, they're like fully Ethiopian. So like they sometimes view me as selfish when I have like those individualistic values. Like sometimes when I put myself first, I see it as I'm being fair to myself, and they see it as like, oh, like, why are you just thinking for yourself? Like, da, da, da. Okay. But yeah, so one of like being collectivistic has its benefits, but it also has its consequences. One of those consequences being gossiping aunties. Like it's from a place of concern sometimes, and sometimes it's just like they literally have nothing better to do. But like sometimes it's just like coming from a place of like genuine concern, like, hey, like I saw your kid like doing this, you should do something about that. Like, and like most of the time the parent like, keeps them in check, like so-and-so told me you out here doing this, and they like reel you back in. So it's like a good thing, but also it's like a bad thing, because like now your kid doesn't trust you, like, and I saw that a lot, like with my friends growing up, like they never told their parents anything because there was that fear, or like whenever they would go out, like even here in America, I know a lot of my other Ethiopian friends, they like hide themselves. They're like, I hope so-and-so doesn't see me, catch me lacking out here. Like, exactly. And she's like, she finna tell my mom. Like, you already know, like within seconds, they know, like, this network they have. Yeah. Like,
they know. Yeah. Even in Seattle, like the East African community is huge, right? In Seattle, even me, if I go out for once and I'm in tent or something, I'm like, oh my God, like they're gonna tell my parents, like the Somali community is so tight, right? It's like you're so afraid of everything. And then also it's like you can't tell your parents everything. Like you have this whole different you that they don't know about because they can't handle it. I have a whole nother dunya that my parents don't know about because they cannot accept that, you know?
Oh my, literally, okay, yes, because yes, I'm a good girl, right? Like I've never do anything simply because of like I grew up Christian, you know, like as most like a East African community does, like, you know, and I still have those values, but like even I'm afraid knowing I'm not doing anything wrong. Like I ask for permission, I know what my like time to get home is, everything, but I still feel nervous. And like whenever I'm talking with my friends on the phone or something, my mom hears my conversation, she's like, who is this? Like, this is, you don't act like this with me, like this is hella fake. And I'm just like, no, I just, because I have to be like elder respect and like all these like formalities, and like it's like, how do you expect me to be the same way? You're not my friend, you're my mom.
Well,
like that's a different role in my life, like, you know.
Then the whole gossiping thing, like where the community like talk about everybody's childs, because it started out, at least my understanding was to protect the child, you know. It was the village raises a kid, you know, like it's literally if you're from Africa, your neighbors are responsible for anything. Like if my neighbor or my auntie was in the scene and I committed something that was not lawful or like that was wrong, then that adult is going to be held responsible. Like you should have, as an adult, you know better, you should have told him or her to not do this action, you know. So that's how we started, like community, like they actively are involved as your own parent. Like they could school you just as if my mom was to spank me, they could do it too. Like if I'm doing the wrong thing, and my mom would not be upset with that. And then, you know, of course, then it gets to the gossiping side where it's an entertainment. Like, oh, did you see so and so's daughter, or did you see so and so son? You know, and but it originally started by it was a community protecting each other's children, like to raise them together to be a better kid.
It all started for our benefit.
Yeah, I think the problem with the gossip like problem that we have back home is that it doesn't equally hold boys and girls accountable just as the same. I think boys get to get a lot more things than us girls do, and I think the main problem that this it creates is that whenever things are being gossiped from one person to the next, a slight misinformation usually happens, and when it gets to the parents, usually it's over exaggerated, and parents usually tend to believe adults than they do to their own children, most of the time girls, and they're like punished for it, where as opposed to like boys, your parents would tell you, but it's just like we have this thing that boys will be boys kind of thing, and then boys get away with it, and then it just creates this messy and gross and not very great relationship with their daughters. And I found it like during the movie when the mother confronted her daughter, it was easy peasy. No, she was like, "Mom, don't worry about it. That's not true. Like nothing was happening." And the mom really did let it go. And I was like,
trusted her. I was like,
that part, I was shocked.
Are we not
That's why
it could never be me.
It's never that simple, the conversations. It takes days sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Parents
definitely.
love
And then like, the gaslighting,
play these mind tricks on you. Like I one time I stayed out, like it was like homecoming, right? My last year of like high school, like it was homecoming. I wanted to stay out. I wanted to do whatever. Like I want to stay out until like 12 in the morning. That did not slide with my mother, no, because I was supposed to be back by 10, got home at 2:30. I was quivering like this to put my key in my house door. She didn't say anything to me the next few days. And my mind is coming up with all these things that she's gonna do to me. I'm gonna die. I said goodbye to all my friends. Like it's over for me. And it really like, and then she later, like we just talked about it was cool. And then she let it go. And I was so confused. And I was like, so parents, like especially East African parents, they like do these things and they make you come up with the worst yourself, like, and then they let it go, because at the end of the day they really can't do anything. And I found that out as I got older and older. They can't stop you, like not really anyway. Like, you know, it's already too late. You've already done it. Like I mean, like by that, like no, they can like, you know, be you and stuff, but like you've already done it. You know what I mean? Like it's they can't stop. Like when I stayed out and I was just watching the time go, and I was like, I don't know what I was thinking. I felt like she might pull up to where I was at and snatch me and take me home. Like that's how scared I was. But it was like, oh, I stayed out, came home, and then that was it. That was like my rebellious day. Not even phase. It was a day.
Wow.
Never doing that again.
Can we talk about the question that somebody sent in? We were talking about it a little bit last time.
There's a question in the chat about what did you think of their friendships, and a little bit about the wealth disparity and the class differences that showed up.
Good
and
question.
also and also there's the level of we were talking about colorism and some of the ethnic differences that were showing up with the Arab young woman Hibo. So anybody want to speak to their friendships and those dynamics in their friendships?
I really liked their friendship, how it started like as them helping her out, and then it just butted into like this close relationship. I really enjoyed that because that's so accurate for, I feel like for girls, like you bond over this little thing and then it grows over time and you get like unbreakable bond like with that person. Like you could meet crying in a bathroom and then you're just best friends like this. But then their issues started to like, as their friendship grew, that so did their issues became more prominent. So like when one of them, like the first thing that I noticed was one of them was wealthy, and like the other two were kind of just like not they weren't poor, but they weren't as wealthy as she was. And when she was about to fight this other girl and she insulted her, she was like, hey, like she's like me, so you're insulting me, like don't do that. And then especially at the party, at her own birthday party, when she ignored her own friends, she invited them and she dissed her own friends at her party. That just ticked me. Like it really, I wanted to fight her. Like, why? That's so disrespectful. Like you lent her your dress, you did all these things. You showed this one aspect of yourself to these people, and then you put on this mask of a completely different person towards these socialites. Yeah. And I was just like, and it was realistic for sure, but like I was like so disappointed though.
I feel like her, like obviously, you know, in the beginning, like her parents are well known. I don't know if they're politicians or whatnot. So she has a certain level that she has to keep up, you know, an image, and that could also take a toll on her, right? Like if she has an image to keep up and all those friends at her party, like from Paris and stuff like that, and she doesn't, I guess, like she don't want to hang out with her friends that are from, you know, I don't know where they're from, but not as wealthy, things like that.
But it's like, I get that, but it's like, why invite your friends if you know they're not going to fit in with this crowd, if you know you're not going to be with them, like, you know, like
those were Hibo, the rich wealthy girl. She was most herself with them. They knew her
exactly.
She really enjoyed them, so she was trying to figure out how to transition or how to balance two sides of the world, because they showed her this side.
That did not work out.
Yeah, but eventually it did.
It did. Yeah.
She in that scenario, like at her birthday party, she was stuck between the wealthy side of her friendship or family friends, and then Hibo and not Hibo, Asma and Decca, the two girls that were not well off. So obviously she invited them, gave them the dress because she knew they couldn't afford it. She had the heart for them. She wanted to be their friend. She knew those were the girls, like the bond, like say the unbreakable bond. They were there through her worst nightmare, you know? So she knew who they were to her. You know, they were dearest to her heart. She would put on an act or trying to figure out how to transition, how to balance two sides of the world. But eventually she did see who her true friend are. That's why she ended up spending her last days of high school with them. Like before their final exams came out. That was like the most
thing. I didn't see, to me, it did not seem like she was trying. Genuinely. I feel like, especially the way I was seeing her behaving at the party, like it was.
She was this brat that grew up with wealthy people. That's who she was. She was learning. She was figuring out the side of herself. You know, Hibo, you know, Decca and Esma were the one teaching her this other side of the world that she does not have any business with. The only reason she got into that was because of that incident of her miscarriage at the bathroom. And so she knew these girls were her ride to die girlfriends, you know? And like at the end, my favorite scene was when they were all in circles holding hand waiting for the result of the test, you know. That reminds me back home, like it's like if one of them didn't make it, they were all not going to celebrate. That's a true bond of friendship.
Exactly.
In Africa, when you have a best friend, or when you have a friend, that's your best friend, that's your sister, that's your brother, and their relationship was so tight. I'm like, that reminded me of my friends I had back in my country. Actually, it made me miss Eritrea more than ever. Here in America, one year you're friend, you're tight, you like sleep over every weekend, and then the next year you don't even speak to each other. That doesn't happen in Africa. If you're a friend, your relationship is so strong, like nothing will break it. And
it's true.
And like
Even
if you don't like,
they were
yeah,
especially in, I feel like Djibouti, like you see how their parents all knew each other,
yeah.
right? And then, you know, fun fact, like, you know, when they're giving them the results, how they were saying their first, middle, and last name. So in Djibouti, your middle name is your father's name and your last name is your grandpa's name. So that's how it is out there. That's how everybody knows each other. So you say like, my name Dunya Ali Ahmed, right? They know I'm Ali's daughter, Ahmed's granddaughter. Feel me? So that's how tight it all is over there. It's so tiny.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I feel like Hebo, like she just was conflicted between her, you know, rich friends and then her friends that actually cared about her, you know?
yeah, I was just too busy empathizing with Asma. Like, I'm sorry, like when she snapped at them and she was just like, you need to get your shit together. I was like, yes, ma'am. Yes. Like I was too busy, like I was in the moment with her. Like I was like, how could like your friend do this to you? You know, I wasn't like seeing it from like their perspective, you know. I was only seeing it from her perspective, especially like as an older sister, she has like all these responsibilities herself, and now she has to take on her friends' issues and she's trying to help. It's a lot. Like I'm always the one that my family depends on. I'm the oldest. Also, like my friendships, everyone comes to me for advice. And it's just like, it's a lot to carry, you know?
Yeah.
And especially like when your friends themselves don't seem like they're looking out for you and they just want you there when they need you. It's like frustrating, you know? That's why.
I really loved Asma's character. But my thing was, you know how she was saying like she can't do all these things because she has to help her mom out. But then it's like they never really elaborate on that because she went to the concert, she went to the zoo, she went to the beach. They never elaborate like did her mom just
her sacrifice and stuff
change her mind, you know? And also like with her, it's really realistic, her family, because you know, East African families, like we raise our siblings, you know,
literally,
like second parents to them. Like my younger siblings, I feel like I raised them, you know? And it's really, I like that part. I could relate to that 100%.
It's a lot, like especially like when I was younger. I remember one moment where with my family, like it was just me and my brother. I was supposed to watch him. We were both young, and I did like let's say like I jumped off the couch onto another piece of the couch, and my brother did the same thing. He got hurt. My family gets home, they look to who? Me. That's when I knew like I had the responsibility. They're just like, whatever he does, yeah, that's on you. And I'm just like, so for the rest of my life, I'm gonna be responsible for somebody, like, and I'm still like learning things myself. It's just like, that's a lot, you know, especially luckily I only have one sibling, but I know other families in Ethiopia, like, especially like old eldest daughters who have like 7 to 8 siblings, and they have like so much of a burden on their shoulders. And it's just a lot. Like, I don't know. It's a lot.
Especially if you're the eldest child, like you're the mom and the dad. And the parent have bigger problems to worry about, and there's heavy responsibilities, and you know, it's just they look at it like it's an honor to take care of your own siblings. But there's a question in the chat. Flora, you want to read it?
I'm wondering for all the question. There's a couple of questions in the chat about colorism in the film, and I know that when we did the pre-chat, that was something you were passionate about. Do you want to comment on that at all?
Hear me all right? Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? I don't know.
Now I can.
Okay. I
couldn't hear you.
Like sometimes. Yeah, I think colorism is something that's, we talked about it. Yeah, colorism and like tribalism is something that is very prominent in the East African community.
Especially right now.
Especially right now. There's literally an ongoing war in Ethiopia right now because of this issue. I think the significance that the lighter girl was the wealthiest one is that this association of just like the lighter skin that you are, kind of like the better you are in a way. yeah, like I remember like being really young and people telling me, oh, you're pretty, and I'm like, thanks, you're so sweet. But then the brown girls and the dark skinned girls would never get that compliment. And it's just like, in a way, in this movie, maybe it was perhaps a coincidence, but I would have loved to see a dark skinned brown girl that was filthy rich and had everything she wanted instead of another light skin.
No, yeah, for sure. As a kid growing up, like, I mean, now I get good like comments, like complexion comments, like, oh, your skin color is the perfect tone. Like, I get that now. As a kid though, growing up in like Ethiopia, especially when the climate is hot, like, you know, we're always playing outside, and like obviously you get darker, right? And I remember like going over to other people's houses, having like celebratory like stuff at my house, and people always just coming up to me and bringing up issues about my appearance, like, oh my gosh, you look so pretty, but you would be prettier if you like were a little lighter. Like, you know, oh my gosh, you're looking so dark. You need to get lighter. Or like even sometimes about like weight, you know, like you should eat more here, like eat more. Like, I mean, the weight thing, I think it's more like a concern thing, but like the skin tone thing, I definitely believe that it's not something I noticed as well. It's not even just in East African communities, but it's also in Black communities in America. Like there's this, I think, but here at least it makes sense because like it's coming from a place of European features. So it's like the more closer you are, the more higher up you are, and you do better, which makes sense. But I don't get where that comes in Ethiopia. Like I never really understood it because like we're all basically the same, not the same shade, but like,
You know,
in the general, we're all brown, like, you know. Yeah.
let me tell you where that comes from.
Yeah.
In Africa, in East Africa, anywhere, even in Asia, Vietnam, Southeast Asia, the poor people, they work out in the farm all day long. So that's when they get darker, right? Like you said, of course, if you're out in the sun. So and the rich, they could afford to stay under the shade and do their desk job, like their office jobs. So that's where the wealth line happens. Like if you're out in the rice field or in the farm all day, that means you're a poor worker because no well-off person is going to sit under the sun and work. But only the people that will do that is those who are desperate and need to feed their family. So that's how the whole colorism, even like worldwide, is like if you're working out in the sun, it's most likely because you have no choice and you're poor and you're surviving. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like we were never in Ethiopia. We were never colonized, but we were obviously occupied by the Italians for about 5 years. So they had plenty of time to install like Western idolized beauty things. I mean, it was most likely there before already, that like difference between light skin and dark skins. But I think they also had like plenty of time to install that. And I know in Ethiopia we had the Arabic slave trade. Which obviously had features mixed in. And like I remember being young and my mom being like, whatever you give me, the like so like the sun, she used to be like come in the house, it's like really sunny, I don't want you getting dark. I'm like, what you mean? You're dark. Like I don't mind, it's okay, like we're okay. But she used to be like, oh, come inside the house, like I don't want you to get darker and get uglier. And I'm like, you're not ugly, you're dark.
It's programmed. It's because the Western world has influenced and impacted, you know, like they left like a scar, a mark on everybody to what is beauty, you know. That's just, it's changing.
100%.
People are getting more educated, people are getting more woke. Clearly the darker the skin, you know what they say,
right.
Yeah. So anyways, that's, I don't see that often in Eritrea, honestly. Like there's so many songs.
Y'all are light. Most of y'all are like light.
Relax. No. There's so many songs in Eritrea actually that talks about the dark skin, the beautiful chocolate. Kerareti is the word for used to describe a dark skinned person, but it's a beautiful word to use when you, instead of saying tukur, there's, you know what tukur in Amharic means black, right?
Like, yeah.
We use this certain word is kerareti. It's not negative. It has no association with any negative it's just using a way to describe a woman who's darker skin and who's beautiful. They're like, oh, her skin is so beautiful. Like there's so many songs, especially Yamane Baria, one of our legend. He always sings about this young dark skinned woman who like they admire them in many songs. I hope it continues to go. With new singers coming up, because the Western world has a huge impact to everybody. Like
Yeah. Can we also talk about the way the relationship in the education system that we saw with the Western world and wanting to send daughters abroad? And what do you all think about that whole storyline around the education system and how colonization shows up there? And
Well, I can't really speak for myself. I was kind of always privileged to have America as a backup, because my entire childhood I was back and forth between America and Ethiopia. I had a bit of an identity crisis, but I can speak for my mom because I know her story and how she tells it to me. But she it's a lot of like going back onto the convos we had before, like the idolization of especially like the States and foreign countries, like, and in Ethiopia especially, it's like, oh, like Frau said, like, you make it to America, you've made it, like, you're wealthy, you're gonna do good, like everything. Things that don't factor in until Ethiopian immigrants come here is that all these other issues that they did not sign up for, like, like the racism and stuff. But actually, I mentioned this to my other friends, but this unconscious mindset that the racism is deserved, well, not deserved, but like my mom feels like it's like they're right. She's like, when I ask her about it, like, why don't you defend yourself? Why don't you say something? She'll always be like, well, I'm in their country, like I can't, like, I'm an immigrant here, like I can't really, like, it's not my land, it's not my home. And I'm just like, Mom, like, what? That's awful. Like, you are a citizen just like everybody else. You brought here, like, and she just feels like it's really sad because she just feels like
does she know it's a stolen land?
Like
themselves.
now she does, but like coming from Ethiopia here, like you don't have that education about America, like not as intricate, like, and she just feels like it's okay. Like, it's okay. I'm if I continue to stay here, it's okay if they say these things to me, because
it's the fear,
like,
though. I think it's not okay. She does not mean it's okay. My mom says the same thing. She's afraid to say something because she's like, they have more rights, because it is the system works better for them, for the white people, for the Caucasian people, because it has been like that for many years. It's in their favor. The system was built to favor them. It was never built to help people of color. If a young black man or a young black woman goes to court with a white man or a white woman, obviously where the system is going to lean towards. So my mom would rather say nothing and just suck it in, hold the stress in her chest, in her stomach, and move on. It's not that it's okay, it's because she knows the system's not going to be in her favor. So she's like, I'd rather keep it pushing. And that's the reality. That's the truth that's happening, that needs to be changed. It's been like people are fighting more than ever now, like the protests. And, that's it's not she does not mean it's okay when she says it's okay. She was like,
well, I mean, no, yeah,
I'm just like the people know she's it's because there's so much fear. There's so much fear created. Just there's like, if you have any felony or if you have any crime on your record, then you can't get your citizenship, you will get deported. All this fear, so she wants to obey the law more than she needs to. Like she's doing beyond obeying the law. She's letting people walk over her because she's afraid. She knows the system's it's not gonna help her at all.
That too, but it's always the response, like, that I always ask, like, and I make sure, like, to emphasize every time I respond, I'm like, you have these rights and you should not take this. But the response will always be like, oh yeah, like, it's not my country, period. Like, it's not my place to say anything. And I'm just like,
she just thinks she has no rights to say them.
yeah.
But we all need to practice our right. We all need to educate our family, especially our family that English is their second language. They're still struggling to speak it. When my mom gets pulled over by a police, she doesn't even know how to properly like address the police. I didn't do anything wrong without panicking, you know, like one time she stepped out of the car. She's like, I'm sorry, honey, I'm sorry. And she didn't even know, like, you know, you're not supposed to step out of your car. Thank God she had a nice police where he's like, ma'am, just stay where you are. And then she keeps saying, I'm sorry, honey, I'm sorry, honey. That's all she could say, you know? Thank God he was a nice cop, because that could have gone the wrong way, like we all know. So, and my sister happened to be driving by and she just started, that's my mom, that's my mom. You know, my sister panicked because she know my mom, like anything could happen. She stepped out of her car because she didn't know any better. She didn't know she was back in Africa. If a police pulls you over, you step out of your car and you talk to them, you explain your situation. But here in America, we're so afraid of the police officers. Why are we so afraid of them? There's reasons why we're afraid of them, obviously, but it shouldn't be like that. They follow the same rule and law as us. We have the same regulation. Even in Europe, in London, the police officers don't carry guns around everywhere, you know? It's just this in America is such a like scary world, honestly. Like I'm afraid to raise my kids here. When I get my dream job, when I save enough money, I'm raising my kids in Africa, believe me. I'm going to trust me.
Yeah, in terms of going back to education, the difference between back home and here is that we're constantly being told back home to leave the country, go to the Western world. I think the Western world is heavily idolized in in African countries more than it should be. I mean, America's advertised as like the greatest country in the world. Like you can see it before the news pops up, and so much so that like we talked about this last time, that women are being sent off to like the Middle Eastern countries to work. Like we are so heavily like told to just leave. Like if you leave, you'll make it. But then that like the greatest country in the world is it doesn't include the struggles that we have to face here. And then when we talk about like how our parents deal with certain situations of like racist comments or concerns, it makes you think back to like back home when you like look at like the colorism and the tribalism, and then it's like kind of like internalized racism, so that when they come here they justify it in a way when they shouldn't. So I think the way that people here, our parents, choose to deal with situations here, they're definitely rooted in fear, but they're also rooted in internalized racism and colorism that they've brought from back home.
100%.
And can you speak a little to how that intersects with some of the maid trade stuff that you all were telling us about in the prep call, and some of the issues around like daughters being sold or traded? Who would like to speak about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously like not legal to do it anymore, but people do it anyway in secret, especially like mothers. I think it's the same thing of like people just really wanting you to just leave. Like if you leave back home, everything will be better. And women are often traded off to in illegal boats and entering countries to work as like maids. And oftentimes it's really a harsh condition, honestly. Like there are multiple news of women committing suicide, jumping off buildings, getting burned. They're being raped by their bosses, and they're women thinking that the wife of the house thinking that the maid is like having sexual relations with her husband. Children like completely misbehaving. Like when you Google search like Ethiopian maid, like the couple Google searches that come up is like burned or committed suicide. And these things are obviously, they're told back home because children oftentimes don't ever come back. They don't have phone privileges, and parents know. They know it so well, but they will rather risk the health of their daughters to send them out of the country versus making them stay and making the country a better place for their daughters.
So go ahead. Sorry. Rowan.
I think they're just trying to survive, mostly when this kind of stuff happens, is a poor family, a low income family that really can't afford to keep their daughter around. Or this happens in India too, like they can't afford to raise that's like a extra mouth they have to feed here, you know. So they will do whatever it takes if it's risking their life, you know. I know to make the country a better place, it's not just as easy as it sounds, you know. It's a whole process. Like,
But I feel like if we cut that idea that other countries will always be a better place for our kids than ours, I feel like it would be a step towards fixing stuff, you know?
That would be beautiful. Like I always tell my mom, I'm gonna go back to Africa. Like when I start my own family, I wanna go live more than half of the year in Eritrea or in Ethiopia or in Kenya, somewhere in East Africa, you know. The education system is actually way better. It just there isn't as much opportunity, there isn't jobs, but the way we're schooled, like our education, we're learning middle school math in elementary school. Like we're always way ahead when it comes to science and biology, physics, math, algebra, all that. We're so far ahead. But have you noticed how I literally became like one of the least smartest person in math here when I came here? My math skills went down. Like I was the best back home. Like so you get ranked from your class, first, second, third, you know, those are the top three. Wow, you made it. In math, I was always one of those. But when I came to America, my math level was just trash. Like what happened to me?
You were in the top three?
Back home, not here.
That's impressive. Never in my life.
Calm down, ladies. I'm just saying, like, when we came here, we're learning math and English, especially their math. Their math book is filled of paragraphs. It's word. It's an essay. I'm like, where are the numbers? Where are the like graphs? You know, where is this? Where's the picture? Like you're writing me an essay. First of all, I do not understand half of the crap you're writing on there. The math book, it needs to be changed. Oh. The education system back in Eritrea or anywhere in Africa, you're learning a second language always. Like it's mandatory almost. Everybody speaks more than one language. Here in America, I took French class for 2 years. I didn't learn crap. Nothing was taken serious. My teacher didn't care. Like it's
it's such an embarrassment here. Most people speak English and they could barely do it. And I'm like, you're so embarrassing. How are you living here? This is literally the land of immigrants and you're telling me you only speak European, like American English?
They learn Spanish and call it a day.
It's so embarrassing. I will literally never be over it. It is so hard. Like if you forget a word English, you have to shut up until you remember it. Like your brain, it can't. Wow. But somebody asked, is French still the primary language of education back home? Up to 5th grade, we speak Amharic. And most teachers that do come in to teach us speak multiple languages. Back in Ethiopia, we have about 83 plus languages. So it's like if you speak 2 languages, you're like, okay, everybody can do that. So teachers speak multiple languages until up to 5th grade. The language technically is Amharic, but since Addis Ababa, the capital that where I lived, was in the area of like the Oromo people, there are multiple teachers that spoke.
Nice.
Yeah, so there are multiple teachers that spoke Afan Oromo, so they'd be more than willing to translate it for you. So up until 5th grade, it's like Amharic and Oromo, and then after that, it completely translates to English.
Yeah, my grandpa, he spoke a total of 6 languages, including Italian, because his wife was Italian. But yeah, he could speak Oromo, Somali, like all these languages. It's very normal to speak, because like tribal, like we have different tribes and they each have their own. It's not dialects. Some of them are dialects, but majority of them are their own languages. And it's like so cool and so awesome. But like Tigrinya, like Gorania, like all these languages.
Question for you two, ladies. In Ethiopia, do you guys use French in any way? We didn't use it in Eritrea at all. Like I know you because a lot of them went to Paris for school. So I think that was their second primary language.
Well, me, the school that I was going to, French was an option, but I took 1 year of French, didn't learn, and it did not retain a single. All I know is oui, and then that's it. That's as far as, but like as far as like the tribal languages, I know a little bit. Like I can get around, you know, like I got basic stuff in for sure, because Addis Ababa is such a mix of like all the Bihersabs, like the tribes. So I feel like it's very good to be surrounded by different languages, so you can catch up a little bit of like everything. But for me, oh my gosh, I grew up here. I was born in America. I grew up in America. And then when I was like 9 to 10, I moved to Ethiopia. So starting from here and moving to Ethiopia, my education experience was the worst. For me personally, it was awful. I went from like easy stuff to like hard, like I don't even know. And not only that, but I couldn't even speak Amharic. Like I could only hear, right? I didn't know how to read or write at the time. So I was struggling. I used to get bullied for not knowing Amharic. You know, they used to insult me, like, oh, you, like they used to think that I had a superiority complex simply because when they asked me where I'm from, I'm like, well, I'm from America. And oh, she must think she's better than us, or she must think like, and I'm just like, no.
Same thing as Kubo. They were judging her in the beginning, just saying,
Yeah.
oh, just because you got money, you think you're better than us. She never actually said anything to them that she was any better. You know, they just automatically jumped in and judged her from where she's from, like, you know, what neighborhood. So
see, but the thing is, when she retaliated with insulting them because they're poor, I was like, that's when I was like, okay, nah.
She was talking back because they were bullied. They jumped her first.
You're talking about Hibo's character now?
Yeah.
You're shifted back to
I said Hibo because she was talking about how in Ethiopia, when she's like telling them she's from America, they automatically put her in this like, oh, you're like a brat, you know, you think you're better than us, you know. And that's what those girls in Hibo character in the movie, Hibo is a wealthy Arab looking girl. I'm not sure where she's exactly from, but the group of girls were just saying, you think you're better than us? Before she said any of that, then she started talking shit back, you know. But prior to that, she didn't say anything. It was just they were projecting these things on her, you know, because they know she's better than them. They know she had more money. They knew she got it, you know. So it's similar, like they automatically think this rich girl is hanging out now with two little like not well off girls, and now this is community service, whatever, you know. Because she wasn't the first one to start that fight.
Oh no, I just meant like
I'm protecting Hibo.
I noticed that too.
I'm trying to see her perspective. It was just
yeah.
I think they were really trying to teach this movie. I really believe was an educational, because other than that movie it was, if you didn't look at it in that perspective, I don't know what you got out of it. I saw it was like teaching parents and kids relationship, and it was just so many different, like you could see it as learning, you know, like how to talk to your parent, like I said before, or how to what do you think?
I don't think it did it well. Because my mom likes.
I think the movie was not the best movie to watch.
Yeah. But my mom watched it. She didn't even finish it. She was like, she started like 10, 15 minutes in. She was like, I'm over it. I'm not interested. Like she wasn't getting anything. Because every time I say something to my mom, like criticizing something, she always is just like automatically shuts down. She's like, nope. I'm a great mother. I do everything right. She defends herself, like her pride gets in the way. And I feel like as she was watching that movie, as she was seeing these parents like not be better, but like be more communicative and stuff with their kids, she felt like maybe she was like, oh, like maybe I could have been better. But she was like, nope, I'm a great mom. She didn't want to receive that criticism. So
no, and then she probably think they're interrupting her teaching, like she's like, people telling you could talk back to your mom, or you could say things, you could see a boy, wow, big deal, like you're in a high school about to go to college.
Exactly.
Come on, you get extremely
she's
defensive.
Like, okay, they have freedom, what about it? I'm like,
it was shocking the amount of freedom they did. The amount of freedom they had there was a little too much, like it was a bit.
Like they get really defensive, like so do my parents, but I think we've established that line where they can't get defensive anymore. Like I've set my ground now. It's just like, if you want to argue, I got all the time and day to argue with you, and I guarantee you I'm gonna walk out with a victory trophy and you're gonna go back to your bedroom crying to watch CNN. So we've really established that, and I think like with parents, they get so defensive, and I think in terms of this movie, if like parents watching it to like understand the youth's side, if that was really the point, I think the movie should have started with something that the older generation could resonate with in order to get them
I
hooked.
agree.
Because at this point, this movie is really telling them all the ways that they could have been better parents so that we could be better kids.
And they do
they're
not like
I've
that.
already done it. I've already done it. It's done. You're great. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't do drugs.
That's
you're
the
not
response
pregnant.
to everything. You're great.
You're great.
Look at you now.
I did good. I did good. So an opener to like parents so that they could resonate with it, because I could probably force like my stepmom to watch it, who is like literally my mom that has been here for multiple years. But if I really did put this movie to like my mom that lives in Ethiopia, I guarantee you she would probably never speak to me. And if I told her like, hey, watch it, like this is a way that you could have been a great parent, she would literally never speak to me.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Because
Like,
yeah, they do get so defensive. Like, oh my gosh.
you know
Like,
what happened to Hibbo, the whole miscarriage thing. If that rumor had gone out, she would not find a husband. She'll probably will be disowned. Like her own family could throw you out. Like you're a shame. You know, you put our family name to shame. So that's why she
yeah,
said.
girls have been thrown out for less. Like, I know hella girls who were
Exactly.
changed religions and their family kicked them out, like straight up, like out the streets. Like, oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah.
The family's name is what must be protected.
their reputation,
The
100%.
family name is always the man name too. You know, not even the woman. They don't care who your mom is. They care who your dad is.
Power as well.
You all have taken us on such a powerful journey through this conversation. We've covered so many different topics, and I'm so grateful for the wisdom that you've shared. And we just have a few minutes left, so I wanted to give you each a chance to just get any sort of like final statement that you really want the audience to take away, or something you want to leave us with. I just want to give you each a chance to make a final statement. Carl, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. Well, first I want to thank all of you for coming, even though like I can't see your faces. I already know you're great by your questions. In terms of my last statement, I think this movie was really powerful. I think this was really dope. I personally loved seeing a dark-skinned Black woman in the movie. And I was telling this when we had our little previous meeting. It felt really great not to see like a lot of white people in the movie. No offense to my white fellows, but we see like white people so often in the movie industry. My mind is almost normalized on seeing only white people in the big screen, and it feels really awesome to see like dark-skinned Black woman in the screen. I don't know, this is really great. Like as an East African, I feel in a way represented, even though it's not like directly Ethiopian. I love like the East African touch, but I thought this movie was dope.
Thank you,
Well,
Eleni.
yeah.
Take us
Thank
away.
you all for coming. I love the questions and I love the comments. I think they were hella helpful to like, guide us a bit. What I loved about the movie, I liked Asma's character personally. Like, I related to her throughout the entire movie. The movie in general was also good. I just think if, like Rawa said, if it was trying to educate parents specifically, or like, kids too, I just don't think it hit the right spot. Because like we just discussed that, but the movie from a cultural aspect, I really loved it. I feel like it hit all of the marks, especially like with the lights going out. I related so much. I was like, yes, not having a stable light source. Yes, we love to see that.
Reality.
But the culture, like it was similar but different at the same time. Like, I've never been to Djibouti, right? And I didn't even know they spoke French. Like, I was like, what? They speaking French out here? I'm like, okay, and it was really cool to see that. It was really cool to see all the different clothes and their food and stuff. It was different, but it felt like similar and relatable enough. So that's when I really noticed and like that. It was like, okay, yes, East African culture, like, and I really like that.
Thank you, Eleni. And Rawa, do you want to make a
final statement? All I'm gonna say is Africa is the way to go.
Yes.
Africa, you saw those beautiful beach, like the sunsets, the palm trees. There's more to Africa than what you may know. Like it's one of the most beautiful. It's a continent, actually. Forget Africa.
Gorgeous.
Pick one country in Africa, and you'll find a resort that like a private resort that nobody will be there most likely to. That it's not advertised enough, So Africa is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, normalize naming a country, please. Don't just say I want to go to Africa, please.
Yeah,
please.
Countries. You're like,
we have
did
so
you not
many.
pay attention in geography? There are 53 countries. Say one.
Hey, America got the worst geography classes. Like,
I
my
swear.
friends in Europe make fun of me. I have so many friends in Europe. Like, they know more states than I do.
No, they cannot speak. Especially Londoners. They can. I will not listen to a single education slander after the videos I have seen of them answering history questions. No, you cannot insult America's education system when y'all out here struggling to answer questions. Okay.
Africa, the continent. There's 53 countries, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Please pick one you want to go to. Don't say Jamaica, please.
Stop.
One person said to me, I want to go to Africa. I was like, where? Jamaica. I walked away. I straight up walked away. I never talked to that person ever again. Don't ever disrespect me like that again. Oh my God.
Do you speak African?
Oh God.
You guys, cringe. Stop.
You triggered a memory trauma in my brain.
You all, thank you for sharing so much wisdom, so much humor, so much joy, so much power with us. It's been such a pleasure and an honor to get to have your voices centered in this space. I know this festival has been around for 31 years, and I know that there aren't a lot of young people that get to be part of these conversations. And I just want to thank the festival for inviting these powerful young women to speak tonight. And thanks to the three of you and Dunya too. I'm so sorry that we lost Dunya midway through, but I know she's with us in spirit, and you're getting lots of love in the chat from folks. And I just want to thank you for taking the time, the energy to watch this film and to share your wisdom with us. It's really quite an honor to get to hear your voices. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having